Hey, it's Roger McDonald here from rogermcdonald.net. I'm here with Cyndi, and Cyndi has been cured of Crohn's, yes?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Cured of Crohn's
It's
disease.
yeah. It's very cool. I still can't believe it myself. It's a bit surreal, but yeah, the pain is gone. The what was behind it.
Yeah,
We were talking about earlier is that the the mental stuff and the emotional stuff
yeah,
behind the Crohn's
mm,
that's been sorted out.
yeah,
So, all the residual stuff that comes up and the habits. I've had it for 25 years, or at least it was
25
diagnosed
years.
25 years ago.
Yeah,
And that's when the pain started,
yeah,
when I was 20.
wow.
So I sort of I've had my life sort of on hold during that whole time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I've got to a point on the week, even yesterday, I put on a pair of jeans that I haven't been able to fit into for a while. So I fit into them, which was great. But also, I normally can't wear jeans because for very long because anything that touches my tummy
yeah,
hurts, which
yeah,
a lot of Crohn's people would people with Crohn's will understand.
yeah,
So I'm always sort of got to have really loose clothing on and just
yeah,
be very comfortable and tracky dacks and things like that. But I actually went out, went to town, had a coffee with someone, went
yeah,
shopping, came home, felt fantastic, and had these jeans on, which were had a fairly tight
yeah,
um, band on them. It was normal. They were good jeans too. They were French Connection. So,
yes,
I was pleased to be in them and comfortable, moving with ease, no pain at all.
that's
And
fantastic.
that was, I think, the clincher for me that it was gone.
Yeah,
Because normally any sort of
mm,
pressure would have brought some sort of response from my bowel and some abdominal pain and
yeah,
that sort of stuff. But it was fine, and I've been able to,
yes,
with the tools that you've given me,
mm,
if I'm going into habit and I know that something's coming up for me,
mm,
with whether it's with the kids or some sort of I don't feel safe in a particular environment, then I know what to do
yeah,
to rewind it.
yeah,
And I've noticed myself doing that. I'll sort of be in a situation, whether it's at the shops or
yeah,
or if there's an argument, kids are arguing or whatever it is, I
mm,
can see myself going into these habitual patterns
mm,
and of thinking, anticipate. And a lot of it's anticipation. The
yeah,
Crohn's pain for me was anticipating what might happen,
yeah,
and then having a gut reaction with the
yes,
pain.
yeah,
And I'm sort of seeing myself now since only a week ago with the session with you,
yeah,
and from that kind of observer point of view as well, sort of
mm,
going, okay, well, I can see that me anticipating whatever it is, and I can almost see my gut tightening, which means
mm,
the cramp's going to come on,
yeah,
and so then I can rewind it and
yes,
go, that's actually not real for me anymore. That's
yes,
just habit.
yeah,
That's not real,
mm,
and it just goes, disappears.
beautiful.
So that's how I know it's gone.
Because we had this great session over a week ago,
Yep.
and after the session you said it's gone, I'm healed, I don't
Yep.
have Crohn's anymore, and then we thought, okay, well wait, I was so excited because this is like incurable chronic, whatever
Yeah,
people
yeah,
say,
totally.
the specialists say, and I was so
Hmm.
excited. I told everyone, my friends and family, and then we thought, okay, I'll connect with you the next morning. So I connected with you the next morning. It was still gone.
Yep.
And then we thought, okay, should we do a testimony video? And we thought, no, we'll wait a week, see if it's
Hmm.
permanent. And it's over a week later, and we're here, we're
Yep.
talking. And when you said it's still gone, I was like, I was like, I was like, yes, it worked. It confirmed what I knew in my heart
Yeah,
about how people heal.
yeah, absolutely.
And so we did a lot of stuff. We went back to the past and worked on your subconscious
Yep.
experiences on the past and meanings around that as a young person.
Hmm.
And we found an event that you'd blocked or you'd forgotten, and you didn't think it might have been related to your Crohn's. We're not going to mention it, of course;
Oh.
it's confidential. But the thing was, you
Yeah.
didn't think it was related to how your Crohn's all started.
No, I was telling my daughter about it actually during
Yeah,
the week, and I said to her, it's a story I've told before. I said, you've probably heard me tell it before
yeah,
because it's kind of a funny story.
yeah,
And And she goes, yeah, I know the one. And I said, and it was linked to, it's what came up for me in that session.
Yeah.
So, and it's what helped me, move through a lot of stuff, and it just brought up all this other stuff that made sense. And I was like, oh my God, would never have picked that event.
Yeah, because events where we make decisions about certain emotional states or something, which then result in us getting sort of illnesses later on in life, they're not necessarily what we think they might be. We're thinking like they've got to be big events, like, whatever it was, like a huge event or a major trauma. Sometimes it can just be a little tiny event that you experience as a child, that we experience as children, that can be the root cause of this stuff. And we healed that. And then we did the other thing, which was build a new identity, which was the strong identity, the strong Cyndi, which you are, the warrior Cyndi. And then even from there, we gave you some tools about the day-to-day, because obviously there's a day-to-day of living, and there's anchors out in the pub, in the community, people who remember the old you, or events that might remind you of the old you, old triggers, and we prep for that. And you've got tools, like you mentioned. So if those old feelings come up or something, you've got the tools to just really interrupt that pattern and keep yourself strong. And so really you can say, because I wanted to ask you before we, you can truly say that you're cured of Crohn's.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is just physical, habitual patterning that's left. It's all that residual stuff.
Yeah.
The cause behind it's gone. Yeah. Absolutely. So, 25 years of physically holding yourself, your body in a particular way takes some time to get that. It's that sort of cellular memory that I've just got to reprogram.
Yeah.
Yep. And then by doing that every day with the tools and the thinking and, meditating and stuff like that, there's so many things you can do. And you've given me those suggestions to go away with and use. It's a whole new world out there. Yeah. From what clothes I can wear to how confident I feel to being able to participate in life and just go out there and not have to go, sorry, can't do that, sorry, can't eat that, not going to, have to go home early, whatever it is, because I'm in pain or because, I'm not going to be able to cope or whatever, is a whole new world. It's brilliant. And I thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Cyndi. Well, you came to the party, I played at 100%, you played at 100%, and you were ready and willing to fix this.
Yeah.
And you knew, some part of you knew that we could do it. Yeah. Because I actually worked with you on smoking. Yeah. On quitting smoking, and then you quit smoking in a session. Well, actually, we did 2 sessions. And then in that smoking session, stuff about the Crohn's came up, and I said, hey, I believe I can help you with the Crohn's as well. And you were like, oh, okay, I'll have a think about it. And then I helped the other lady cure her fibromyalgia. And then I said, hey, why don't you give her a call? And then I think you rang her. And
text message, yeah.
Yeah, and then she said, yeah, do it. And so then we set up a session and gone.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Cyndi. Thank you so much for this testimony, because I believe it will help, how many thousands of people in the world think this is incurable.
Oh, it's life-changing. And like you say, it'll help the people who want to be helped. Yeah. And are ready. Yeah. Are ready to lose the Crohn's.
Yeah. That's right, because there can be, in having an illness like Crohn's or any illness, there can be a lot of some significance, and it can be a way of people, if that's the only way that you've related to people is through your Crohn's, is people going, oh, poor you, oh, how are you feeling, are you okay? If that's the only way you've related to people, then you wouldn't want to, a person might not want to lose that because the Crohn's, because that's,
identity.
That's their identity. That's the only way they've learnt how to communicate to others and relate to the outside world. So it can be a bit scary losing the Crohn's, because it means the person has to learn a whole new way, a lot of tools about trusting themselves, about how to communicate to others. But you definitely agree that life is better without the Crohn's.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you're excited about being able to trust yourself now and get out there and be the person you've always dreamed of being.
Yeah, yeah. And, I've got probably, a lot of the key stresses that, lifetime stresses in the last month and coming up in the next couple of weeks, where that could just send the whole Crohn's into a relapse, those sorts of stresses I've had, sort of a relationship breakup, almost moving house, and a new job. So, they're the three big ones, apart from death, which hasn't and won't, be around. But those three big ones have happened in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I start a new job next week.
Yeah.
And I've been out, I wasn't prepared for those sorts of things. So they all happened quite quickly. So normally, the old me would have gone, okay, complete relapse, all this shit's being thrown on you.
Yes.
And it's a perfect scenario for anyone with Crohn's to go into meltdown.
Yeah.
But that's not me anymore. That's not, I'm looking forward to who I am now.
Yeah.
Crohn's-free, healthy person.
Yes.
Going into a new job, starting a new life, new house, finance, all those sorts of things. It's just, I can't even explain it. It's just this this feeling of it's almost like it's this coming home and this sort of inner strength.
Yes.
Of going, this is who I've always meant to be.
Yes.
And I can now be myself without any fear of anything.
Yeah.
It's that trust. It's trusting in myself to be myself.
Yeah, trusting you can be yourself and trusting yourself every day and trusting yourself in your business and your life and your relationships. Just trusting yourself on the whole is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And just, Cyndi, I just want to talk briefly, what would a day look like, back in the old days, which was only a week ago, when you had the Crohn's? What would a day look like for you? And also, what had you tried medically, you don't have to go into details, but, like you obviously saw specialists and medication and all that kind of stuff. And just briefly, if that's okay, just so people can see, she's the real deal. She's, if a person with Crohn's is watching this, they can see that, gee, that was what that's what I'm doing.
Sure.
That's what,
yeah. A typical day for me would be, waking up and almost the first thought of after waking up is, first of all, I'd remember my dreams and that's all cool. But then as I'm sort of coming into reality, all the anxiety stuff starts.
Yeah.
And it's not even conscious sometimes. It's just the body reacting. And then I'm going, why? If I were to think about why it was reacting, it would be because I'm going, what's ahead for me today? What sort of problems am I going to face? If I had stuff going on at work, a lot of the time there was stress around work, my old job, and worrying about, people I had to deal with that day or issues I had to deal with. And so, and because people with Crohn's would understand, it's not going to be too much information, but, you end up on the toilet for the next half an hour.
Yeah.
So from waking up before I'm even in the shower, there's half an hour gone.
Yeah.
Just sitting there in pain and, releasing and then having to, and then being exhausted just after doing that and then having to get into the shower.
Yeah.
And either the shower's a safe place or it's more of that thinking. It's all this constant what if, worst case sort of thinking. I don't want to deal with blah blah, and then having to find stuff to wear that's comfortable depending on how bad the day is and the pain is.
Wow.
And that's all stuff that's taking up energy, thought, and that's just the first hour.
I'm tired listening to that. We're not even at 8 o'clock yet. You've gone through all of that. Keep going.
And then you go out and start your day. Then breakfast is difficult because I normally can't eat at that hour of the morning, or whatever hits my belly might hurt. So sort of end up skipping breakfast usually, and then might just have a travel coffee in the car to work and try to relax and on the way to work. So I would normally listen to CDs and things. Otherwise, the traffic and stuff could stress me out, and I'd end up having some pains on the way to work. Yeah. Get to work, try to get through my day. I'd often not eat. I try to go out to have lunch I never brought lunch in with me, so it was always a constant dilemma of what am I going to eat for lunch
Yeah.
that isn't going to give me any pain in an hour or so,
Yeah.
because I might have meetings.
Mm.
So I'd either get, so that would be, take up a lot of energy as well, trying to think of what to eat.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what I ate. So oftentimes I'd still be in some sort of pain, around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and again, have to go and hide in the toilet or something just to wait for the pain to go away, and then back into work again.
Yeah.
Drive home, and I'd actually be fine until I was about 5 minutes from home, and the pain starts again. And that's just anticipating the anxiety around coming home, kids, homework, making sure their homework's done, them asking what's for dinner, trying to figure out what to have for dinner, cook dinner. All the while there's all this other crap going on, and just anticipating all of that, which may never actually happen.
Yeah.
But it's the whole, okay, it's happened before, and so you kind of just anticipate all this stuff. And then I'd be in pain by the time I'm sitting in the carport trying to, get out of my car and going, okay, try to breathe and get in the house.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
And
so
every person with Crohn's who listens to this will go, that's exactly my day. That's probably they'll be thinking.
Pretty much.
Like for me to hear that, I can fully, empathise with what you were going through every day. Like that's a lot, and we've only just got to the evening, so you still got the next 3 to 4 hours of the evening to go.
That's right. Yeah.
So what did you try in the past, like specialists and stuff to help you, and what did you try?
I was more of an alternative medicine type person. So unless I had a really major relapse, which probably occurred once every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Then, and that was normally because of some major event. So either moving house or ending a relationship or a new job or something like that. So that's when usually a big relapse would happen, to the point where I couldn't manage it myself. So I tried for a couple of weeks to manage it myself. If it got too bad to the point where I couldn't eat and I was vomiting, and then I couldn't actually get to work, so I'd end up having days off work, I'd end up back at the doctor, and then they'd send me off to a specialist, and then the specialist would have to book me in for colonoscopy and endoscopy. Then after those, they say, okay, well, you've got ulcers are showing up in your bowel. We need to put you on steroids and maintenance drugs and all those sorts of things. So in those periods, I would go on the steroids for a couple of weeks just to get out of pain so I could then manage it myself, but I wouldn't do any of the maintenance drugs. Now, the doctors will tell you, they would tell me that if you'd been on the maintenance drugs, then 4 or 5 years down the track, you might not have had another relapse. Maybe. So, I just took that risk and thought, well, I'll manage it myself. And I knew always I'll get to a point where I'll never have Crohn's again, and I'll show them, And so that's it. And today's that day, or last week was that day. Normally just because I knew it had to do with me mentally and emotionally and stressing.
There was something there.
And so I've dealt with it with naturopathy, those sorts of things, and homeopathy and homeopathy and just doing those sorts of things, and then sometimes watching what I ate if I could feel triggers and lactose-free milk and things. So and all of that stuff, has helped me get through it. It just never was able to get rid of it completely, but it helped me manage it.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's all the medication, all the great diets, all that cool stuff. That's great, but it only really deals with the symptoms.
That's right.
And we dealt with the causes. It's like when you deal with the roots of the tree. So the roots of the tree are the problem. So we went back to the past and healed that. So when the roots of the tree are healed, then obviously the tree and the fruit that it's different. And you know that in yourself, because now the roots of the tree in your life are healed. It's like the rest of your life is, you feel good, you feel optimistic, you feel hopeful, you feel like you've got a future, you feel like you're powerful again. And that just came from healing the past. So that's the message to anyone I believe that's the core of cancer, unless you've been exposed to radiation or something, Fukushima or whatever. But if you've just developed cancer as an adult, again, I'm not talking about children, but if you develop cancer as an adult or any sort of disease or illness or sickness, really we label Crohn's, it's a word to label a state.
Yeah.
That state is that emotional, physiological, psychological state is connected to the past. And when we heal the past, then that all changes. And so any illness, asthma I've worked with and really well, and fibromyalgia and Crohn's and cancer, and this is my belief. Others may disagree, but obviously the fruit is you're healed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels so different, It's like, that's a really good analogy, because it's kind of like those roots were toxic, browning.
Yeah.
If I'd pulled the tree out, it would have been, really gunky and funky and horrible underneath. Those roots would have been really awful.
Yeah.
Now it's like they've been nurtured. It's all grown, new and fresh, and therefore, the trunk of the tree, which is that inner strength that I was talking about before, and then the fruit and the leaves and everything are glossy, and it's just this whole new paradigm to go and work out, and it's an amazing feeling.
Cyndi, I want to thank you so much for this testimony, and you fully deserve this new you, this new exciting life you're going to have. You fully deserve it, and you fully deserve to be healed, as does every person. They fully deserve to be healed of whatever it is they're facing. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thanks so much, Cyndi. And I'll end the video here, but I thank you again for this great testimony. I know it will definitely help people out there. And I'll just end it here. So thanks again, Cyndi. Thank you.